Thank you, Mr. Chairman, very much. Few states focus on this issue more than Massachusetts because for residents of Plymouth and Newburyport and other cities and towns in Massachusetts, nuclear oversight means the difference between sleeping easy and living a nightmare. For today's hearing, Massachusetts advocates submitted comments on their experiences with deficient nuclear oversight at the Pilgrim nuclear power plant and the Seabrook nuclear power plant. Mary Lampert of Pilgrim Watch writes that, quote, luck alone is preventing the next accident. Reactors are old, require maintenance and repairs to downgraded components, but are not getting the care today due to industry's shrinking profit margins and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's inattention. Natalie Hilt-Treat of C10 writes, quote, it should be the role of the federal government to ensure strong and continuing oversight of nuclear reactors and their deadly byproducts and not cede authority to industry actors for whom public safety is only one performance metric. These testimonies illustrate perfectly the frustration and fear that communities face when the Nuclear Regulatory Commission fails to prioritize safety over industry solicitations. Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to submit these testimonies, as well as testimony from Henrietta Cosentino of the Plymouth League of Women Voters and Diane Turco of Cape Downwinders.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission granted Pilgrim an exemption from emergency planning and preparedness requirements, despite the fact that much of its used radioactive fuel is still sitting in spent fuel pools. Dr. Lyman, do you agree that it is dangerous and short-sighted for the NRC to remove key safety requirements while fuel is still in spent fuel pools at Pilgrim?
Yes, thank you, Senator Markey. I do agree. As long as there's spent nuclear fuel in the spent fuel pool, there is the risk of a potential zirconium fire in the event that cooling is lost either through an accident or a terrorist attack.
Dr. Lyman, do you agree that we should go even further in requiring the swift removal of radioactive fuel from high-density pools to dry casks?
Yes, we support additional requirements for the accelerated transfer of spent fuel from high-density spent fuel pools to dry casks, which would reduce the fire risk.
Thank you. This week I am reintroducing my Dry Cask Storage Act to ensure that we go further with safety and planning for fuel storage at these risky sites. Cutting these planning and emergency response requirements for cost savings just cuts away at the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's legitimacy in the eyes of Massachusetts residents. The reactor oversight process is the heart of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's nuclear safety mandate, but NRC staff have recommended that the Commission unnecessarily and unjustifiably weaken this key program. Proposed changes would minimize the significance of some NRC inspection findings, a dangerous move considering how many so-called lower-risk findings can point to high-risk problems. Pilgrim serves as proof. After accumulating 3 low to moderate risk findings, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission placed Pilgrim in the lowest active safety category. As a result, the plant received heightened oversight in order to guard against disaster. Dr. Lyman, do you agree that the proposed changes to the reactor oversight process would mean that other plants with safety issues like Pilgrim might escape the NRC's notice?
Yes, some of the proposals that are under consideration would make it harder for the agency to recognize safety, deteriorating safety trends and therefore take timely action. So those kinds of changes are really, would really be a mistake.
Thank you. And my concern is that when the teacher is only allowed to give out A's, it will look like all the students got smarter, but it actually makes it impossible to figure out who is failing in the class. That's what would happen with the proposed changes to the reactor oversight process. It's not making us safer, it's just cooking the books. And finally, to test how well nuclear reactor operators can protect their plants from attack, the NRC requires performance-based inspections with attack simulations. Over recent years, the NRC has repeatedly weakened these force-on-force inspection requirements. Dr. Lyman, do you agree that having plants conduct their own security tests is not an effective way to assess whether they could defend against an actual attacker?
Yes, I do agree. Those self-inspections do not satisfy the requirements for independent verification of the security force performance at nuclear power plants.
So if the weakened reactor oversight process is like grade inflation where everyone gets an A, the weakened force-on-force exercises are like letting students design and grade their own tests. And that's even more dangerous. This isn't the way to keep people safe. This isn't the way to carry out the NRC's mission. This will only ensure that more communities will face the same fears that we have here in Massachusetts. And thank you, Mr. Chairman.